What's up, Transit? We're kicking off a brand new series today called Relationship Goals, and I want to start off by asking you a question. What's your favorite season of the year? Spring, summer, fall, or winter? For me, hands down, my favorite season of the year is fall. I am all about some fall. It's not too hot, not too cold, and all the different colors on the trees are beautiful. And of course, I love me some fall drinks like a good old pumpkin spice latte. Give me all the fall. But if fall doesn't do it for you, maybe you're more of a summertime kind of person. I feel you. You're all about the beach. The hot days are perfect for a poolside popsicle. You love getting your tan on, and of course, no school. Or maybe spring is your jam. Flowers are in full bloom. Coming out of winter, you're so ready to put your heavy jackets away. Personally, I hate spring because I'm allergic to pollen and it makes my life miserable for 2 months. If you're allergic to pollen, you get it. Or maybe winter is your favorite. You'd much rather be cold than hot. You love your cute winter outfits and all your scarves. The cold temperature gives you an excuse to stay inside and play your favorite video games. And it is hard to beat getting all cozy next to the fireplace. No matter what your favorite season is, here's what's true. Every season has something unique about it. Every season brings something different to the table. And there are some things you would do in one season that you would never do in another season. Think about it. You would never go to an outdoor pool in the middle of winter. You wouldn't walk around in your favorite jacket or scarf in the middle of a warm spring day. And you wouldn't sip on a hot chocolate while you lay out on the beach during summer vacation. Well, why? Because there are some things that were meant to be experienced and enjoyed in one season and not in any other season. Things intended for the uniqueness of one season can't really be fully enjoyed when taken out of the intended season they were created for. Another way to think about it is like this. All things in life have a unique time and place to be experienced and enjoyed. In fact, King Solomon, a former king of Israel, the wisest person that ever lived, had a lot to say about this very idea in the book of Ecclesiastes. Listen to what King Solomon says. There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. He says that every activity, everything we do, everything we desire, every activity under heaven has a time and a place. And he goes on to give us this long list of things in order to emphasize the idea that God, who created everything, also created a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything in life, including dating and sex. Maybe you're immediately wondering, okay, so when is it? When's the time? When's the place? Or maybe you're thinking, why does it matter? Or some of you are thinking, no, I know, the time is now. Well, just like so many other things in life, God created sex to be experienced and enjoyed at a unique time and in a special context, and that time and context isn't middle school. Now, before you write me off, stick with me for just a second. Did you know that God created sex? Yeah, it was his idea. Sex isn't bad. Having those desires aren't bad. God created all of it, but as the creator of it all, God also knows the best place for it. In fact, God creating sex for a unique time and place can only mean one thing, that it is so special and so awesome and so powerful that God knows if we take it out of the context he created it for, it ruins his best for you and for me. It's kind of like this. I want you to think about a fire for a second. Fire is this incredibly powerful and beautiful thing. When fire is in its proper context, like a fireplace or a fire pit, it's beautiful and mesmerizing. When fire is in its proper place, it's useful, it can be enjoyed, it keeps you warm. You can even use it to make s'mores or cook dinner out at a campsite. But when fire gets outside of its proper place, it becomes dangerous and even potentially deadly. When a fire is taken out of the fireplace or the fire pit, disaster ensues. It does crazy damage and leaves a wreckage of burnt ashes behind it. Fire is powerful and can be enjoyed in the right context, but when you remove it from where it was intended to be enjoyed, it turns bad pretty quickly. And the same is true for sex. God created sex for marriage, and in that context, it's a beautiful thing. It's an amazing gift from God. But when you take sex out of the context of marriage, this powerful, beautiful thing called sex actually becomes dangerous. Sex, again, remember, is not bad, but in the wrong place and at the wrong time, it could leave you in a place you never wanted to be. Using sex in a way that God never intended will leave you hurt, confused, and even full of regret. And God doesn't want that for you. In fact, the very reason God created boundaries for sex isn't because he's holding out on you. It's because God wants what's best for you. God has a plan for dating and sex, and that plan is the absolute best place to be. It's the safest place to be. It's the healthiest place to be, and it's the most promising place to be. And for some of you, if you could just be honest for just a second, maybe you feel like you've already messed this plan up. Like maybe you feel like you've already missed out on God's best for this area of your life. But here's what I want you to hear loud and clear: that God's best is still available for you. That there is a grace that forgives and a love that redeems always. And you need to hear that it is never too late to step into God's best for your life. And for all of us, no matter where you are, in order to experience God's best for this area of our lives, we have to trust God with what he says about sex. And you can trust him because he isn't trying to keep anything from you. No, quite the opposite. You can trust God because he wants what's best for you. He wants you to have the best relationship goals so you can have the best relationships now and later. So what if sex really does have a unique time and place? Like, what if that time and place wasn't middle school? What if God has set those boundaries in place because he loves you and because he wants what's best for you? How would that change the way you viewed sex now? How would that impact your relationship goals? Knowing that God wants what's best for you is the very reason why you should trust him with this important area of your life. As you guys head to small groups, I want you thinking about this question. In your mind, what is the best context for sex?